Two numbers, same body, 14 hours apart. Tomorrow morning, before you eat or drink anything, put a tape measure around your middle, straight across your belly button, and write that number down. Then measure again at 9 o'clock at night. In most people over 60, the second number is a full inch bigger. In some, 2. In a few, 3. Now understand what you are looking at. An inch around the waist is several pounds of body fat, and nobody grows several pounds of fat between breakfast and dinner. Fat is slow. Fat takes months. Whatever filled you out by the evening arrived in a single afternoon, which means it is not fat, and it never was. It is also not what your doctor probably told you it was. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what it is, and the 90-second movement. A hospital research team in Barcelona put through a proper placebo-controlled trial and proved you can stop it. It costs nothing. You can do it sitting in an armchair, and almost nobody over 60 has ever been told about it, because the muscle causing the problem is not in your stomach at all. Then I am going to give you the 15 days, laid out day by day, including the exact number you should be watching and what to do if it has not moved by day 10. Stay with me for that part, because the plan only works if you know what you are actually measuring. So find the tape measure tonight and take that first reading. That number is your starting line. On day 15, you are going to take it again, and I want you to see the difference in your own handwriting rather than take my word for it. Now let me show you why the number moves at all. For a long time, the answer everybody gave was gas. Too much air in the bowel, blowing the belly out like a balloon. It sounds right. It certainly feels right. So researchers finally went looking for that gas. And what they found turned the whole idea on its head. Here's what they did. They took people whose stomachs visibly swelled through the day, and they put them inside a CT scanner during an actual episode. Not before it, not after, in the middle of it, with the belly visibly bigger. And then they measured the gas inside. In patients whose bowels genuinely moved too slowly, yes, the gas had increased. That made sense. But in the great majority of people who complain about this, the ones with irritable bowel and ordinary indigestion, the gas had not increased at all. Not a drop. Nothing extra had arrived. And yet the belly was pushing out so far you could see it plainly on the scan. So the volume inside had not changed. Only the shape had. Read that again, because everything else follows from it. Nothing was added to you. Everything was simply moved. And what the scan showed was this. The diaphragm, that big dome-shaped breathing muscle sitting under your lungs like an umbrella over your organs, had dropped. It had pushed down. And everything underneath it had been shoved downward and forward into the front wall of the belly, which changes the entire problem. If your stomach is bulging because of where your organs are sitting rather than how much is inside them, then you are not fighting a digestion problem at all. You are fighting a muscle problem, and muscles can be retrained. Let me show you the version that is supposed to happen, because once you have seen the healthy one, the broken one becomes obvious. You eat a meal, your gut fills, your abdomen has to make room. In a healthy person, two things happen automatically, without you thinking about either of them. The diaphragm relaxes and lifts upward, opening space under the ribs, and at the same moment, the front wall of the abdomen gently tightens, holding everything in. So your insides expand upward and inward, into the room the diaphragm just made for them. From the outside, almost nothing happens. You ate a full meal and your silhouette barely changed. Now here is the broken version. And it is the exact opposite in both directions at once. The diaphragm, instead of relaxing and lifting, contracts and pushes down, and the front wall, instead of tightening, goes slack and gives way. A piston pressing down from above, a curtain collapsing in front. Your organs have exactly one direction left to travel, and it is straight out the front of you. Doctors have a name for it, abdominophrenic dysenergia, which only means the belly and the diaphragm have stopped working together. And here is the part I want you to actually hear. This is a reflex. It is not laziness. It is not greed. It is not a failure of willpower. Your nervous system is running the wrong program in response to an ordinary meal, and it is running it without asking your permission. Every single person who stood in front of a mirror at 8 in the evening feeling ashamed of a stomach they could not explain. This is very often what was happening to them, and not one part of it was their fault. If nobody has ever explained that to you before, that is the entire reason this channel exists. Now, before I hand you the technique, there is a gate you have to walk through first, and I am not going to skip it because for a small number of people watching this, the honest answer is that this video is not your answer. Everything I have described comes and goes. Flatter in the morning, fuller by night, flat again after a night's sleep, round again by tomorrow afternoon. That swing, that daily rise and fall, is the reassuring pattern. It is the pattern the trick is built for. What is not reassuring is a stomach that stays big. If your middle is the same size when you wake as when you go to bed, if it has been swollen most days for more than 2 or 3 weeks, if it feels genuinely firm rather than soft, or if it appeared within the last year and simply has not gone away, that needs a doctor, and reasonably soon. The same goes if the swelling arrives alongside any of these. Losing weight without trying, feeling full after only a few bites, losing your appetite, blood in the stool, new pain that persists, swelling in the ankles or legs at the same time. And for the women watching, one thing in particular, because it gets missed constantly, persistent bloating is one of the most common early signs of ovarian cancer, and it gets written off as digestion for months before anybody looks properly. Most cases are found after the age of 50. If your bloating is persistent rather than swinging, if it is new for you, or if it comes with any of those other symptoms, get it checked. In the overwhelming majority of cases, you will be reassured and you can come straight back to everything in this video, but rule it out first, because no breathing exercise on earth will fix something that is not a breathing problem, right? If your belly swings through the day and settles overnight, you are in the right place, and the rest of this is for you. So why does this hit so much harder after 60? 3 reasons, and they stack. The first is posture, and it is the biggest. As the years pass, the upper back rounds forward, the shoulders come in, the head drifts out ahead of the chest, and when the top of your body curls down like that, the whole front of your trunk gets shorter, the distance between your ribs and your hips closes up. Your organs are being packed into a smaller container, and the only exit left is straight out the front. The second is tone. The deep abdominal muscles that hold that front wall firm weaken with age like every other muscle in the body. The curtain that is supposed to catch the pressure gets thinner and looser every year. Nobody trains it. And the third is what is actually inside you. Bowel movement slows after 60. Constipation becomes far more common. Plenty of everyday medications slow things further. Still, so the load sitting in your gut at any given moment is genuinely heavier than it was at 40, which means the faulty reflex gets triggered more often and fires harder when it does. Put those 3 together and you get exactly what so many people describe and nobody can explain to them. Flat at breakfast, swollen by supper, reset overnight, round again tomorrow. Which brings me to the trick and to the trial behind it. In 2024, a team at the University Hospital Vall d'Hebron in Barcelona published the study in the journal Gastroenterology. 42 patients, 36 women and 6 men, every one of them with a stomach that visibly swelled. After meals, they wore soft belts around the chest and the abdomen that showed them, in real time, what their own muscles were doing. Half were taught to deliberately reverse the pattern. The other half were given a placebo pill. The results were not modest. In the group that learned the technique, the increase in waist size after a meal was essentially wiped out. Their own rating of how distended they felt dropped by around 2/3. In the placebo group, almost nothing changed. Now let me be straight with you about the limits of that, because I would rather you hear it from me than find it later. Those patients ranged from 17 to 64 years old. It was not an over 60 study, and the laboratory version used those sensors, which you do not have at home. The simplified home version follows the identical principle and is what specialists now recommend, but it has not been through the same rigorous test. What I will say is this: every one of the 3 reasons this gets worse after 60 is a reason to expect it to work harder for you, not less. Worse posture, weaker front wall, heavier load. Those are precisely the levers this technique pulls on, and what the patients learn to do comes down to 4 words: chest up, belly in. Here is how you actually do it, and the details matter far more than they look, so listen closely. Sit tall in a firm chair, both feet flat on the floor. Do not sink back into the cushions. Imagine a string at the crown of your head gently lifting you, so your ribs rise away from your hips and the front of your ribs. Body gets longer. Let your shoulders roll back and down. Now breathe out slowly through slightly pursed lips, as though you were cooling a spoonful of soup. As you breathe out, gently draw the lower belly in and up toward your spine. Gently, not a hard suck in, not a clench, about 1/3 of your full effort. You should still be able to hold a conversation, then breathe in through your nose. And here is the piece almost everybody gets wrong. Send that breath into the sides and the back of your lower ribs. Feel the ribs widen out sideways. Like a pair of bellows opening, your belly should not balloon forward. Keep that light tone in the front wall the entire time. Breathe out, draw in a little, breathe wide into the ribs, 8 to 10 slow breaths, and you are done. 90 seconds. Do it right after every meal, and any time in the day you feel the bulge starting. But before you go and try it, there is one thing that will sabotage you completely, and there is a good chance you have been taught to do it on purpose. Belly breathing. Push the stomach out as you breathe in. Let the abdomen go soft. You have almost certainly heard this recommended. And for calming your nerves, it is genuinely excellent. But look at what it actually is. Pushing the belly outward and relaxing the abdominal wall is the precise pattern we are trying to undo. It is the broken program practiced deliberately. So keep it, but use it correctly. Belly breathing when you want to relax, chest up, belly in when you want your stomach flat. Never confuse the two. And there is one more thing, and it costs you nothing at all. Watch how you sit at the table. Most of us lean forward over the plate, elbows in, chest folding down toward the food. That is the worst possible shape you could adopt, because you have folded the front of your body in half at the exact moment your gut is filling. Sit back, let the ribs lift away from the hips. Bring the food up to you instead of taking your chest down to it. Change nothing else, and that alone gives your organs somewhere to go other than forward. Now, here is where most people go wrong with all of this, and it is why the next section matters more than the last one. The trick changes how your body displays the load. It does not change the load itself. And if the load is high enough, you can perform that breathing perfectly and still lose every single day because you are fighting uphill. So over the 15 days, we bring the load down as well. 4 things. The first, and by a distance the biggest for anyone over 60, is clearing out what is backed up. Constipation is the single most common driver of a heavy, swollen middle in this age group, and an enormous number of people have it without ever once using that word about themselves. If you are not passing a comfortable stool most days, that weight is sitting inside you all day long, feeding the reflex on every meal. Raise your fiber, but raise it slowly, over a week or 2. Jump straight from very little to a great deal and you will feel considerably worse before you feel better, which is exactly the point most people quit. And fiber without fluid is worse than no fiber at all. So drink alongside it, 2 kiwi fruit a day, or a small handful of prunes. Both have decent evidence behind them, and both are gentler than most supplements. If nothing has shifted after 2 weeks, that is a conversation with your doctor, not something to force. The second surprised me when I first read it. Walk after your meals, not a workout. 10 to 15 minutes at an easy pace. In one trial, 94 people with bloating were split in 2. One group took a prescription drug to speed up the gut, plus an anti-gas medicine. The other group simply walked for 10 to 15 minutes after each meal. 4 weeks later, both groups had improved significantly. A walk did the work of the medication. The third is slowing down how you eat, because a startling amount of what is inside you did not come from food at all. It came from air you swallowed alongside it, eating fast, straws, fizzy drinks, chewing gum, sucking sweets, talking while you sip, and very common in this age group and almost never mentioned, dentures that no longer fit snugly. Every one of those drives air down with every swallow. Sit upright, put the fork down between mouthfuls, and take smaller meals more often rather than one large one, because a big meal triggers the reflex far harder than two moderate ones. And the fourth is salt. One restaurant meal, or a few packaged foods, can hold 2 or 3 extra pounds of water in your tissues inside a day. It is not fat, and it will leave again on its own, but while it is sitting there, it makes everything feel tighter and every waistband smaller. Cook at home where you can for these 15 days and you will watch the difference show up on the tape. So here is your 15 days, and I want you to pay attention to the number you are tracking because it is not the one you think. Days 1 to 3, you measure only morning before you eat, night before bed. But the number that matters is neither of those. It is the gap between them. Subtract the morning figure from the evening figure. That gap is your swing, and your swing is the entire target of this plan. Your waist size is not what we are changing in 15 days. Your swing is, write it down each day, because it varies, and by day 3 you will have an honest average rather than one unlucky reading. Do nothing else yet. Tell me in the comments what your swing came out at. I want to know how many of you are sitting at 2 inches or more, because I suspect it is far more of you than anybody realizes. Days 4 to 7, you add the 2 movement pieces and nothing else. 90 seconds of chest up, belly in after every meal, and 1 10-minute walk after your main meal of the day. Keep measuring both ends of the day. And here is what to expect, because most people misread this window completely. The first thing that changes is usually not the size of the swing, it is the timing. The bulge starts arriving later in the evening than it used to. That is the reflex beginning to give way, and it counts. So do not miss it just because the tape has not caught up yet. Days 8 to 11, you bring the load down. Fiber climbing slowly with plenty of fluid. Salt coming down, smaller, slower meals, sitting upright, food coming up to you. Keep the breathing, keep the walk. And by day 10, check your swing against your day 3 average. If it has not moved at all, there are 2 likely reasons and both are fixable. The first is timing. Most people do the breathing once the belly is already out, which is treatment. You want it in the 10 minutes after you finish eating before the bulge appears, which is prevention. The second is that the belly is still ballooning forward on the in-breath. Put a hand on your side ribs while you do it. If your ribs are not widening sideways under that hand, the breath is going into your abdomen and you are practicing the wrong program. And if neither of those is it, look hard at the constipation, because that is the one that overwhelms everything else. Days 12 to 15, you change nothing. You simply hold all 4 pieces steady and let the numbers settle. On the morning of day 15 and the night of day 15, take your 2 readings and work out the swing one last time. Then compare it with the number in your own handwriting from day 1. And now let me tell you the part that almost nobody says out loud. For a very large number of people over 60, the swelling was most of what they were seeing in that mirror in the first place. Not fat, a reflex running backwards several times a day for years, which means the belly you have been blaming yourself for was never the belly you actually have. I will be completely straight with you about the other side of that. You will not have burned away fat in 15 days. Nothing in this video does that. Real fat loss takes months of steady eating changes, and there is no breathing, exercise on earth that removes it, and anybody promising you otherwise is selling you something. But fat takes months to shift. This can shift in an afternoon, and there is one thing you get from it that will never show up on a tape measure. When you stop believing the swelling is proof of something you did wrong, the shame goes with it. There are people who have spent a decade quietly turning down photographs, avoiding fitted clothes, refusing to look in the mirror after 8 in the evening, over a reflex that nobody ever bothered to explain to them. So go and find the tape measure tonight and take the first number, then sit up tall, breathe out, draw the belly in, and breathe wide into your ribs. 90 seconds. That is day 1. And it starts now, not tomorrow. If this explains something you have wondered about for years, subscribe to Care After 60 because this is exactly what we do here. The real mechanism, the actual evidence, and where that evidence stops. Not the myths. And if you know somebody who has spent years quietly blaming themselves for a stomach they could not explain, send them this. It may be the first time anyone has told them the truth about it.